Our professional being is not different from our human being. Let's chat about professional wellness. Hello, thank you everyone as you guys are starting to arrive. I will upgrade you as usual to a panelist so that we can see your lovely faces and hear your voices. I am Nadine G. I'm the owner of Let's Converse, which is a premium wellness brand for people of color. And we bring people together to cultivate culture, community through conversation. And I am proud to be a part of the team that is bringing you the Be Well virtual experience today. Myself and my co founder, Danielle, who is the founder of Fit for Purpose, really felt like we wanted to create a space for people of color to really focus on their wellness and to focus on our wellness as a community. And so today we are doing a whole bunch of activations, and we are now starting our professional wellness activations. And I'm so proud to introduce you guys to the ManiFeast team. And I am going to just jump back in the background with you all and listen in to this great jewels that they're about to drop. And so, ladies, take it away.
Thanks, Nadine. This is
Hello.
awesome. Val and I, we both are talking at the same time because we are so excited to be here. And thank everybody for joining us on this Saturday. I feel like that song, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. So that means a lot to Team ManiFeast. And hopefully everybody came prepared with their homework done so that we can have a really good discussion and time together. So again, this is an interactive workshop, but let me just take it a step back. So I'm Kim Rickards, and I am CEO and co-founder of ManiFeast. And joining me today is going to be Valentina Hannon and Crystal Sylvester. They are both on the team. They're waving to you all now. But we're not going to spend too much time with introductions because I know we have a small time, I guess you would call it, short time together today. So we do want to be able to engage and kind of get to know everyone because it's a pretty small group. So we have the ability to kind of go around and share. So this interactive session allows us to engage with you to see where you are, and then for you all to engage with us, ask any questions, and we can just have this be kind of like a back and forth, if you will, of knowledge. So that said, I think the first question we asked you guys to come prepared with, and hopefully everybody did, and hello to all the friendly faces that I recognize. Thanks for joining us. The first question was around, what does professional wellness look like for people of color? So everyone in this room is of color. And I think that we can all answer that question and be as transparent as possible, just so that, you know, again, this is a safe space, but we want to be able to really get to the nitty gritty of it. So we can start there. Let's see. I'm like, if anybody wants to start, they can jump in. Otherwise, I'm just going to just randomly call people that I see so that we can all get going on this. And are you unmuting or are they unmuting themselves? That's
They
probably
can unmute themselves at this
okay.
point.
Cool. Let's see. I'm seeing Donald. I'm just going to say, hey, Donald, thanks for joining us. I'm going to start with you. You look like you have a very friendly face, and it looks like you have something to say. So, what does professional wellness look like for you or for people of color?
Uh, for people of color, I'd say number one, employment, and then being in a position where you can finally save and invest financially and invest in yourself. Um, Whether that means investing in your own dreams or investing in your family. So that's what it looks like for me, people of color.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. Anyone else want to take it?
Hi, this is Shanja. I'll piggyback on what Donald said as well. It's very important to make sure that you are depositing good stuff in yourself and good stuff in your family as well financially. So, a lot of us, a lot of people in our Black and Brown community, um, start their financial wellness journey later on in life, and they, want to play catch up. And it's never too late, but as you're learning, make sure like there's two people in front of you that you're learning from, and then there's two people behind you that you're depositing into. So as you're learning, you should be also teaching as well. So, some people can avoid some of the mistakes that you might have done in the past, financially, and make sure that you're depositing into them as well. So, like Donald said, you might want to invest in your family. Some of us might have younger adults in our family that have dreams and they feel like they've never seen anybody do it before, so it stops them from doing it. But if you can help them, even if, like, for example, my daughter started a jewelry line. I was the first person to buy a piece of her jewelry. Like, you know, is she thriving? Not yet, but as long as she knows that, anything I'm learning, I'm depositing in her. So it's like each one teach one. You got to be pulling somebody up behind you because somebody went before you and pulled you up. So it's important to keep doing that.
Congrats to your daughter on starting her business.
Yeah, well,
That's
entrepreneur.
awesome.
It's an exciting time for sure. And I agree with you. I think that we should all be, I call it sending the elevator back down. So once you get to that top, whatever that top looks like for you, you should be bringing it down for other people so other people can join you, because no one wants to be on their journey solo. But yeah, we're going to take one more and then we're going to go into the next question. Andrea, I see you. So I'm just going to call on you. You've been looking at me this whole time and I'm like, you look like you have something to share.
Why? I didn't realize I looked like that. Well, I mean, I would say I was actually thinking along the same lines as what was already said. For me, when I think about it, I think about the financial aspects because I do think that that's an area that's, um, I guess, missing or not really taught. For me, I don't feel like that was taught to me and to many individuals of color, growing up. So I look at, for me right now, wellness, like what does my future look like? How can I like financially get myself into a place of building, growing, um, having assets, thinking along that line because I think when we think about wellness, we usually just think about like physical wellness, but there are so many other aspects of wellness, and that's one area that kind of falls to the side, and we don't necessarily put enough time into really looking at that. So that's what it means to me.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I'm glad that the Be Well team has coordinated this discussion so that we can focus in on the professional side of wellness, because everything holistically should be working together. So I'm going to turn it over to Valentina, who's going to kick off the next session. Well, the next set of the questions.
Hi, everyone. So the question is, how can this time of stillness be used to assess your profession? For me, um, I eventually started like my own business because I didn't know what was going to happen with the pandemic, even though I have a job, but I still, wanted to bring in extra income just in case. So this has taught me a lot, and it's really pushed me, because if this didn't happen, I probably would still be sitting around doing nothing, just talking about it instead of actually pursuing it. So let's see. Gina, would you like to answer this
Hi.
one? Hi.
I think it's a good time to reevaluate who you are in your career and what your skill set is. I think we all kind of have a vision of who we are and where we want to go, but sometimes it's good to just sit down and write down what your goals are and maybe think about skills that you have but maybe haven't been using and should use in your career moving forward. And I've been spending a lot of time on reflecting on what are my goals, where do I want to go, am I happy where I am, if not, why not? So notebooks, get a notebook.
Yeah,
Have a new notebook.
agree.
Gina, I like where you started going with this, because I do have a question around if you're not happy with where you are, like what are you writing in that notebook? What does it look like? Are you writing strategies on how you're going to move forward out of this place? Are you writing down like what you want in a new position, a new company? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, I'm writing down what makes me unhappy, but also thinking about like what would make me happy, but really I'm trying to spend a lot more time looking within myself and what I'm doing versus kind of blaming other people for my unhappiness.
Mm-hmm.
But also, while I am where I am, establishing what my goals are while I'm here. What am I trying to accomplish while I'm here? And I need to pay rent, you know? So that's been a big thing for me.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that you're asking yourself those questions too, because I do feel that and anyone can feel free to chime in. But I think personally, this time of stillness hasn't been that still for me, right? So because it hasn't been that still, I haven't been able to really take the time to ask those questions of myself. I'm more so reassessing how can I provide value to like my team and team meaning ManiFeast team as well as our community as well as my day job, like where's the value add and where can I show up is more so where I'm looking at. But then I'm also side-eyeing some of the companies that I am seeing like in the news that are doing some things that are kind of disgusting, you know, like some of the way that they are handling their employees or not handling their employees. I'm looking at them and I'm like, I never want to work for that company. You know, like this is the way that
Yeah.
I'm reassessing in a sense, but I feel that it hasn't been I haven't been that still. So yeah, it has anyone else felt like they're not that still?
Yes, that is definitely. I feel actually that I've been busier now that I am actually working from home than I am when I'm in the office. So it has really been kind of like eye opening for me. And like going back to what Kim was saying, even with my own company, I'm realizing that I've realized a few things about them and the demand that, in a regular workday, you have your typical 8 hours, depending on what you do. But now being at home, you're getting calls early in the morning, calls late at night, and they're not understanding necessarily. Like if I was in the office at 4:30, everything would have been shut down, and you would have waited till the next day. But because you think that I'm home, that you just have all this time in the world. So that's been actually very interesting for me to learn about my own company.
I know for me, I'm in the film industry, and so a lot has really been on pause. So I liked what Gina said is sort of reevaluating the value that I'm adding to that culture. And I think for the people in my industry, because it's one of those professions where you can't make anything without 100 people, 50 people. So it's a really communal thing for each project, and so people are dying for human interaction. And I think a lot of creators and a lot of executives are actually now starting to give more of themselves back to the community rather than focused on providing a product to give to the community. So they're giving back knowledge. They're giving back old content, opening up vaults of content for people to learn from. So I think it's a really restart situation for my industry, and I think that's really exciting to see where it's going to go because it's the Wild West at this point.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else would like to add?
I'll share. As I know, Christy and Kim both said that I definitely don't feel like I've been very still. I feel more busy now than before. But I know someone in here mentioned just like reassessing, and I do think that that's what I've spent some time doing is really reassessing sort of like where I'm at, and I do this every 5 to 10 years, not often enough, but really like where am I at? What am I missing? Where am I trying to go? And so I'm in mental health, and I have a private practice, but you know, often things just kind of stay the way they are, and I put a lot of things to the side over the years that I haven't really focused. So I've used this time really to sort of work on building my private practice the way I want it to be. Not as it was there, it was functional, but it's not to the level of where it could be. And in a world that we're living in now, and with seeing sort of the mental health issues that are going to come out of this, I'm kind of like using this time to do a lot of trainings. Like they offer so many like online trainings right now. So I'm saying, you know what? I actually have the time now to do this. Let me do this. Let me, learn more, and then also let me sort of see what I need to do. So right before this wonderful session, I was basically going through like insurance plans that I haven't applied for, newer ones. So I'm really any I guess I made a list. I think someone in here mentioned that, and I'm just sort of now looking at what I need to do over the next. I'll be home. I work in a school, so I'll be home for like the next 3 months. So I've got lots of time, and I'm like, well, let me use this productively so that when I come out of this situation or whatever situation we're going to be in, there's probably going to be a lot of remote sort of therapy going on. I'm already doing some of that. So I'm really trying to prepare myself for working in a different way um, moving forward. So that's how I've been spending a lot of my time.
Yeah. I'm kind of like that this happened because it lets you really sit back and see what you want to do. Like I feel like how you always have that, oh, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it, and it's like now this pandemic, like it's kicking you. It's like no, you got to do it now. Like it's giving you the time you need to get yourself in order per se. You may have had order, but this is like getting you in more order. It's shaping you to be better and want to be better for your businesses and your ventures to come.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, as we're going into the next question around discussing networking tips. So, funnily, Andrea started this because of talking about, having the time to attend more of these virtual, if you will, learnings or events. That's actually one of the tips that I wanted to share. So I'm going to share with you 4 tips. But the first tip that I actually had was attend industry events. So if you're anything like me, you're probably zoomed all the way out, you're over it. But this is actually a good time to find those events that are pertinent to your career or the career that you are hoping to go into going forward, right? So try to sign up, make it a priority to be there and to actually do what you're doing in this session, which is be present, because that's the other thing that I find that's happening with a lot of people being on Zooms. They're there, but some people are so overwhelmed that they're not fully there, so they're not really showing up. But if you were attending a live event, you would have to be, as they would say, like on court. You'd have to be there. So it's almost like putting that same energy into the industry Zoom event or whatever platform the virtual event is hosted on, but really just show up, because when you are present, you actually find that people are paying attention, right? Just like you're here and you're learning, that's exactly what people do when they see you, and they start to get a better understanding of who you are if you're being present and you're sharing. And that's the other thing when you're attending these virtual industry events, share, right? So part of networking is that it's an exchange, it's not just a one-way street. So definitely do your part in, I won't say pitching yourself because that's not what it is, but it essentially is a combination of pitching yourself so people know exactly what you're doing, and then also being a person that's saying, how can I help you? Even during, and I would say especially during this time, because people do need help. They just sometimes don't know exactly where they need it. So when you are able to share what you're doing and you can share with them where you're able to help them, it just, to me, makes more synergy come together, which is awesome. The second thing I was going to say is establish an online presence. So again, part of what we have in our capacity, if you will, is the ability to really do some time searching or finding the time. That's what I'm trying to say. Find the time to be online, to be present. So If you have not gone on LinkedIn in years, you may want to be there. You may want to clean up that profile. If you are using Facebook as a way to target your customers and engage with them, you may want to be there. You may actually want to go through your page, see what it looks like, see if you are providing content that's engaging for them so that they will continue to come back, so that they will continue to be a part of this journey with you. If you have something that you're trying to sell, and right now your website looks like it's not ready for that first sell, right? You should probably take the time to actually do that. Like really use this time to build that strong online presence, because let's be real, although outside may be opening soon, a lot of people are still going to be inside and they're going to be online. So you want people to be wherever you are, and you want to make sure whatever you need them to know, they're getting it when they interact with you online. The third thing I was going to say is around engagement. So engage with relevant content. Engagement is key. So if you have a presence online and it looks beautiful, but you're not doing or saying anything, you will lose people every single time. No one wants to just come to a pretty page and all they see, unless this is your business, all they see are like memes or quotes or what have you. You have to find something that's going to engage with them. Even if you're asking or you're putting up a quote, what do you want them to take from it? Do you want them to get anything outside of just being inspired? And if they do you want them to show you how they're inspired? Like, how are you connecting with your audience, if you will? And again, doing it online requires a little bit more creativity, and now we kind of have the time to think through it. You can always look at what other people in your industry are doing for you to have some sort of guidance there. But again, strong relevant content is what you want to be putting out there in this time. And the last tip that I would have with you guys is around connecting and reconnecting with your contacts. So a lot of people are talking about checking in, and checking in is awesome. And again, some people, they feel like if you don't check in with them, you're not thinking of them and all the rest of it. I wouldn't go that far, but what I will say is, for the people that you have not been in touch with that are in your industry, those are the people you want to reach out to. You want to make sure that they know that, hey, I'm still here, I'm well, I'm checking on you to see how you're doing as well. I have this idea, maybe we can partner to bring it to fruition. But you want to be able to be in communication with them, because again, we're kind of all in this really together, and you want people to know that. So that's what I would leave you with for now. But if anyone has any other tips, definitely feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can share them live with us like now. Well, then, you guys keep thinking through your tips. We're going to keep this moving, just because. Donna, were you coming off mute to say something, or you just okay? I was trying to make sure. But yeah, you guys, as we are chatting through this, if anything comes to you and you're like, oh yeah, that's actually one that I heard that was pretty cool, let's again knowledge share and put that information out there so that we can all be better together. Chris, I'm going to turn this over to you right now.
Hey guys. Okay, so my question, or the information I'm going to be bringing to you guys, is tips and tools for growth in and out of the workplace. Everybody pretty much kind of touched on a lot of the tips that I was going to give to you, but I'll just go over a few other ones that I had. The first thing that I would definitely recommend or suggesting anybody to do is to define what your goals are going to be. Whether your goals are your personal goals outside of your workplace and your goals while you're in your workplace. Definitely, I agree with what Gina said. If you can journal it, write it down, like put it somewhere where you can actually see it, you can visualize it so that you know what you're trying to do. As far as tips for in the workplace, I think right now during COVID, this is the best time. If you're trying to grow in your industry, there's so many free online classes that they're offering. There's so many different discussions that they're offering. I know for me personally, I'm in mental health. And so there's so many different Zooms, chats that are going on. There's so many different webinars that are going on. So I've tried to sign up for it without overwhelming myself, just so I can gain a little bit more knowledge, because it never hurts to get a little bit more knowledge in your field. Also, I would say find a source of support during this time. Find someone or people that you can actually link yourself up to that can potentially help you grow. Because going back to what Kimberly was saying, is sometimes, either we don't ask for help, or there may be somebody out there that is willing to help you, that can share knowledge, that can build you up into whatever it is that you are trying to grow within. um, and the biggest thing is, once you set your goals for yourself, and this is something that I personally have realized also, is this is the time to be very, very persistent. This is the time to really, really commit to it. We have no other excuses. Like, we have time on our hands, so find the time to do your research, especially when it comes to me with your workplace. Find the time to do your research. If you decided that you want to go back to school, or you want to go for that degree and you've never found the time before to do it, this is the time. Research your schools, research whatever it is that's going to help to accelerate you and help you to reach your goal. But be very, very persistent, and just make sure that you stick with it and you commit to it. Again, this is something that personally for me, I remind myself of every morning. I set a goal, like I set time out for myself in the day, and I try to stick to everything that I need to do, and I try to remind myself of what I'm trying to achieve and how I'm trying to go grow, whether it is in my personal life, which is being a better cook. So I try to pick up and I try to actually, try something new that day, or just try different things. And then when it comes to my career, again, like I said, I try to go on different webinars. I try to take any free classes that they have that's out there, any certifications that may be able to help me. But I'm definitely, trying to stay persistent and continuing to be committed with it. Is there anything that you guys, or any tips that anyone would want to give us or share with everyone?
Yeah, I want to jump in and take it to the audience, because I would say that consistency is key. So whatever you start to do, like, make sure you're being consistent with it. So if you commit to taking that class, finish the class. Like, if you commit to learning a new skill, learn the new skill, apply that. Like, just be consistent with it, because I think that just helps with rounding things out. And again, keeping you professionally well.
I just wanted to say something really quick. Hi, everyone. I noticed that everyone was talking about they're busier while they're at home, but I noticed that I am busier while I've been at home, but I haven't necessarily been productive. So I'm getting in the habit of being busy, but I need to shift that and get in the habit of being productive, because you can busy your time with a whole bunch of things, even in your good faith effort to to get additional certification, or take advantage of free resources that are out there. But you have to apply it, like you said, and sometimes that doesn't transition well. So you gotta bring it back, because yes, it's important to learn new skills, but like you said, are you applying those new skills? So but also be kind to yourself too. Like, it's not like this is a regular day in in a neighborhood. This is also traumatizing for a lot of people. uh so be kind to yourself, learn, grow, but also don't go crazy with it. Just baby steps.
Yeah, I like that you said to be kind to yourself, because I don't think I'm kind enough to myself, because I'm trying to do as much as possible in sometimes like 10, 12 hours, right? So it's like you're trying to do all these things, but sometimes it's a matter of stepping away and being like, no, you really need to not do that right now. And then the other thing too, again, being very transparent with you guys, I'm over the freemiums. Like, I love that a lot of stuff is free, but I'm just like, I'm over it. I don't have the capacity to take another free course or anything. And we actually, as a team, we had all signed up for free courses through Cornell. And yeah, we signed up because it was just
I
like,
was
it was great in the moment, right? Like, we're gonna do this as a team. This is gonna be excellent. We're gonna be certified. Team spirit. And then life happened, and I was like, I can't. I don't want to be on the laptop again outside of my job when it ends, right? I don't want to be back in school. Like, I just didn't want to do it. And I felt that at first I was kind of disappointed in myself because I'm huge on consistency. And then I was like, no, you're going to be consistent with this rest, is what you're going to do. So, yeah.
I'll piggyback on that because I jumped into this Cornell class with these beautiful ladies. Thank shout out to Bank of America and Cornell. I do appreciate that.
Yes,
But
yes.
it is definitely challenging, and especially working from home. I know someone mentioned it earlier, but my home is my sanctuary, right? And it's normally the place where I come to escape and to kind of balance that work life balance. And so, with everything being in these four walls, um, it really does take some time to be like, no, right? Like, sometimes you have to say no, no to the freebie, no to doing this extra speaking engagement, no to taking care of all these people when I know I need to take care of myself. Like, just no, and so part of that is balance as well, is understanding the things that we do need to get taken care of. Maybe we do need to shift and pivot and focus a little bit on our passion and give that some time. But ultimately, we get to give ourselves time. And so that word no, really making sure that that's a part of your vocabulary in a healthy way, I think is really important with balancing our professional wellness.
And to go back to what you're saying, Chandra, I'm guilty of that. I literally sat here in the beginning and I was like, oh, this class is free. Oh, that class is free. Oh, this has to do with psychology. Oh, I'm going to do it. But then I had to remind myself, like, okay, what if I wasn't committed to it, or if within the first day I was making an excuse of, okay, because it's online, I'm going to go back. I literally just had to sign myself out of the class. So I learned not to overwhelm myself with it. And I was like, how I literally looked at, especially when it came to the free classes, I looked at it and I'm like, am I taking this because it's free? And exactly how is this going to help me to excel in my profession? And if it brought no type of value to me, I was like, you know what, back up. So within the first 2 weeks, I probably was like a scholar. I was like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then you think to yourself, I said, I wasn't even doing this many classes when I actually was in college. So I'm not going to overwhelm myself with it now. Like, I'm not going to do it. And then as far as picking up the new skill, I tried to find a way. So with me and my husband, like, we can't do typical date nights. So I'm like, okay, we want to learn new things and we want to learn how to cook different foods that we typically don't, cook as Caribbeans. We kind of stay to the same, well, at least from my family, we stay to the same things. And so we kind of tried to find a way to make it fun. So that was our way to kind of de-stress from everyday life and just being at work and working in the hospitals and being overwhelmed with that. And just said, you know what, this is time we're going to put some music on. We're going to we're going to go over this recipe with each other. We're going to cook this. And, we're still learning a skill at the end of the day. And we kind of get to de-stress at the end of the day. But, that for me, I will say I was guilty of that. I did too much in the beginning and then I was over it.
I'm gonna piggyback off Nadine. I don't know how to say no. I'm always yes, yes, yes. And that's one thing I need to learn is no. Because you can ask Crystal and Kim, I'm always yes. You never really hear a no from me. So that's like one thing like I'm trying to learn to like, in a good way. A good no.
Yeah, and that's why I just put in the chat, own your no, because a lot of times we start to feel like guilty about it, and like April was saying before, you have to say no to the extra things that don't fit. And as much as they're good and it means well and it would probably be great if you did it, if it's not going to bring peace and if it's not going to have you in a position where you are resting and just taking it easy, then it becomes overwhelming. And then that's an additional stress that no one needs. So owning that no is totally, I think, applicable to overall wellness and being okay with it and knowing that that's a boundary, right? So as much as, this is the month of mental health awareness and everyone's talking about self-care and all these things, we have to practice self-care by saying no too, because I can be on team too much a lot. And I feel like when I start to say, you know what, you don't need to do that, that's me practicing self-care, and me really being true to who I am. One of the things that I kind of wanted us to go into, because I know we're getting close to time soon, but I wanted to really go around the room and have us talk about that work day. Like we're all basically at home, and home is the office, home is now where you sleep, home is everything essentially for you. So how are you practicing that wellness in your home professionally? Like, is it that you really have a boundary that says after 6 p.m. I'm not taking any phone calls, no meetings, I'm not checking email, I'm not going to any Zoom, no nothing, like I'm completely offline? Or is it that you get up in the morning and you're basically, Alicia put this in the comments, you're doing like yoga? Like, how are you practicing these wellness tips, if you will, because you are at home and you're in your office? How is everyone doing that?
When I am,
Oh,
go
Sean,
ahead, Chandra.
definitely take it too.
Hi, sorry, I'll be really quick. So what I did, my job, my calendar is not my own, so it's incumbent on which clients need to get to me at what time. But what I have been doing is like, hey, so if this was regular life, I would be commuting during this time, and I'd be getting into the office around 9:30. So I block my calendar until 9:30, and I'm an early riser, so I get up and I go for my walk in the morning. I leave enough time to take a shower and then log on. And then in the evening, I block my time accordingly. So if there is a webinar or a Zoom, or I want to read an article or something, then I block my time for those days and leave the times open on the other days for my clients to have a little bit too much access to me. But I have been trying to balance it off a little bit more. And I'm thinking, like, if I was at work, if there was a performance coming up or a concert coming up, I'd be like, hey, on June 5th, I was supposed to go to this concert. I'm blocking that time off as if I was still going to the concert, because it's probably going to be virtual anyway. So I'll just attend it virtually, but be okay with blocking that time off. Because if I was at the office, I would have left on time to get to this thing. So just trying to continue doing that.
To actually piggyback off of what you said, Chandra, is so I literally, for me, when I start my day, I try to start my day, like you said, at the same time I would start. So if I'm in at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock is when I am logged in and I'm ready to go. I try to keep my workspace to one set area. So I don't work in my bedroom. I come out and I have my little desk outside in the living room, and that is the only place that I work from. I do take my breaks when I'm supposed to take a break, just to kind of like step away from it a little bit, because it will get overwhelming. And also, like I was saying to my team, and it's a good thing, like what you were saying, Chandra, is if I had so many people that had vacations coming up and time off requests, and everybody's pulling it back. And I'm like, no, like I understand if you don't want a whole week of just sitting in the house, but you do also need a day off, a day to de-stress, a day away from work. So just take the day. So I've been with that. Like the other day, I said to my boss, I said, I'm taking a half a day from work. And she's like, Crystal, but you're working from home. And I said, I'm still taking a half a day because I'm entitled. I would be entitled to that even if this pandemic had never happened. And I just personally needed a break. So I've been encouraging myself, not only myself, but my team, that, still take those vacation days, maybe not the whole week, but if it's a day or two just to be with your family, be away from work, that's important. And now I've had to have the conversation that by 4:30, that is it. Like, unless it's an emergency and you really, really need to get to me, then you can contact me. But outside of that, it's going to have to wait until tomorrow, because I have to know when to shut down and pick up my regular life. Because like you said, everything now is in one space and it's so easy. There were days that I was going into 10 o'clock working and I'm like, I would never be sitting in the office until 10 o'clock working. So I've had to, just learn those boundaries. So I just try to stick to my personal schedule of what I used to do.
Yeah, that's actually a good one.
Oh,
I've
sorry.
heard of some people having, and Lynn, we're going to get right to you. I've heard of some people that have been pulling back their vacation time because they're like, where am I going? I'm not going anywhere. I don't necessarily want to just sit in the house. But the reality is, yeah, we do need a break and we're entitled to it. So if you do have that time, totally take it, because some of these companies are not even going to roll them over, or they're going to roll the days over in full. So some companies are even considering slicing vacation time so that if you were to be let go or if you left, they don't have to pay you out. So you just have to be mindful of all of that, as you are thinking whether or not to take the time. But I say take the time and definitely just lay around if you wanted to. Like if that's what you want to do, just do it and be okay with it. Lynn, I think Lynn was trying to say something.
Hi, everyone. Blessings to everyone who's there. Just wanted to give quick tips. As was mentioned earlier, what I noticed worked for me is that every morning when I wake up, I write three gratitudes for whatever. I write three affirmations to myself. And then I write three targets for today for work and three targets for today for myself, so that I also try to hit my own targets. And also, I write three long term goals. And sometimes it's the same long term goals that I repeat. And I find that it helps kind of drill it into my subconscious. This is the goal that I'm going for. So I've noticed before, when I didn't sit at home, I will rush and never have time to do it. And now every morning I wake up, I do my morning things, and then I sit down and like my holy time, and I write these things and I connect to higher power to help me focus for the day, as opposed to just do things. And then at the end of the day, I'm not even clear to myself what actually happened.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you. I'm done.
no,
Thank you.
thank you for sharing. And that happens a lot. I'm like, what did I do today? So I think having that time to really reassess and prioritize is good. And spending time with your source in the morning to start the day is a nice way to kick the day off for sure. Donald, I did have a question for you because your industry is different. And for the most part, you guys are on pause, if you will, right? So how are you managing during this time?
So I'm in Chicago, just sheltering with my family. I flew out here from New York, so with this time has actually really taught me how to fuse family into that long work day, because we normally do 12-hour days. But living in New York, I mean, I have friends and, I'm aware of my friends, but you can always just kind of check out from them. So, but it's hard to check out from my mother or my father or my grandmother. So what I've been able to learn is like the things that take a lot of mental energy, like my writing, I have to do that early in the morning. So at 6 a.m., I'll get up, kind of brush my teeth, wash my face, sort of get energy in my body. I'll do like a quick 2-minute writing prompt just to get me into the action. And then I'll go over what I left, then the work that I did the night before. I'll always leave maybe a scene open just so I can get back into it. And that's what I start on very early in the morning. And then by the time they start moving around and things get a bit loud, then I can get into exercising and things like that. And it takes them about maybe 2 hours to settle. And so I can go back into writing for a few more hours. I like put my phone on night mode. I've owned that I can do that, which this is a recent revelation for me, because I'm like one of those that just give myself constantly. And so I've owned that, like, and I appreciate reading that and hearing that own your no. So I've done that for myself. So that's the big lesson for me, is like now being able to understand, this is how you schedule in family as you do this stuff that takes up so much time and energy.
Yeah, that family part, that is a huge thing. I think that what this pandemic has taught many people is family is important, right? And
Mhm,
so many
mhm.
people were booking things over family time. And, I mean, I work with some people that were missing their kids' recitals and they were missing team meets and all these different things. And now they're like, wow, I can't get that time back. Like, I had no idea what was going on in my child's life. And I'm sitting here like, you think, like all the times you were taking those meetings and all the times you were kind of like pushing them to the side, now you're in a position where you're with them and you have no idea what's going on. And, it's sad, but it's again part of what I think we all needed in order for us to know, like, hey, all of this can cohesively work together. We just have to know how to set those boundaries, take the time to really prioritize or reprioritize, reassess where we are, and make time for what matters. I think that's what one of the biggest lessons have been, because all of these things really are important. We have to have a job so we can take care of our families and all that stuff, but at the same time our families are important too, right? So we shouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. Chandra.
I just want, so I work for a really great company, and my boss made us take a week off. And she was like, in the next 3 weeks, you have to put in which week you're going to be taking time for your mental health. And so this was my mental health week. And I felt kind of like resentment, like I don't want to take vacation time because I'm not going on vacation. Like I want to save that for when I actually can, catch this flight really quick. So I don't want to take this time away from me. But she also gratuited us a week. So I didn't have to make it or hedge it against my vacation time. She just gave us a free week off so we could get our heads right. And I felt like I don't know what to do with this time. And I realized that I've been in the process of working way too much, like you said, not capping it off at 5 or 6, and then after that being busy, that I didn't remember how to relax. And I felt very strange when I was laying down or sitting down, not in front of the computer, like, what am I actually supposed to be doing right now? And I'm like, you're actually supposed to be doing nothing. But I didn't even remember what that looked like because I've been going so much. So yes, take your time. Um, and you don't have to be doing something at every minute of the day. And that's me saying no to myself, because nobody was doing that to me. That was me just going, because that has been the, you know, the pace of my life for so long. So it was like kind of foreign. So that's it. Sorry.
Yeah. Nothing is still something. Yeah, I agree with you, Linda. It's true. And I like that Bo said in the chat that she's not going to save her vacation days anymore. That's me plus one. I'm not saving any vacation days. I'm going to just be like, it is what it is. If we got to fight for this vacation time, we fighting for it, because if you save it and then you lose it, then you're even more upset, right? So it's like, take the time while you can and make the most of it, even if being still is all that you do. I did have another question I wanted to pose to everyone as we really start to wind down, but what are some of the things that you feel guilty about? Like, let's talk about that. Why are we feeling guilty about not doing anything? And I almost feel like if you've lived in New York, if you've grown up here or whatever, that is kind of that energy that this city kind of like spews out, that if you're doing nothing, you're wasting time essentially. But outside of that, like, what's going on? Why are we feeling this way? Let's talk about that.
I feel guilty at times when I am working from home and I don't feel like there's enough to do. And I feel like I'm just sitting here and like I'm getting paid to literally do nothing. And I just feel so guilty about it. But then it's like I'll take the time and I'll like go and work on my own business. But it's just I rather work in the office because there's more to do than work from home. Like working from home is like I don't have my books. I don't have my stuff that I normally would like turn around and grab and like, okay, set up this, that, and the third. Like, yeah, answering emails, you get like a couple here and there, phone calls here and there, but it's nothing like going into the office. Like, I get bored very easily.
So Val, is it that I'm hearing that you feel that because you are home and you don't have access to so many things, you don't feel as productive? Is that where the guilt comes in?
Yeah, I don't. I just feel like I'm really sitting here getting paid. Like I'll log in at 7:30, and from like 7:30 till 9, I'm done with everything for the day. Like I've caught up on everything. Unless someone calls me to tell me to do something, I'm just literally sitting here, and I feel guilty.
How many
I
people
don't know why.
how many people are Val that's like just sitting around collecting a check? I've never heard anybody complain about this, but
That's why I'm like, I'm just
I wish.
Yes, I wish.
I wish I had that day.
but when I'm in the office, it's busy, it's good, it's flowing, but home it's like it's but so much I guess I can do given like what I do. So but I'm just I like to stay busy. I love being busy.
but see, that's what we're talking about, right? That staying
Mm-hmm.
busy doesn't always equal to that productivity. So again, it's like, do we feel guilty because we're not being as productive and we're getting paid for it? But then if we're in the office and we're busy, we feel productive and we're getting paid for it. Like, what's that really about? Nadine, did you want to jump in on that one?
Oh, I was just saying, like for me, outside of this, I'm also a clinician. I'm a social worker, and so I'm busy, especially during a time of crisis. So there's a lot happening, and so that idea of like wanting to be still, like sometimes I just really want to be still, and I guess my guilt comes in more of like taking the time off and being still, because there are so many people who are relying on me and relying on my service, to know when to just be like, no, I need to kind of step aside, and not allow you to call me after work is finished, not allow you to, tap into all these extra things. So I do think that it's important, um, to kind of let that guilt go. Um, and if they not giving you enough work to do and you getting everything they asking for done, great. Take care of yourself after that. Like enjoy that moment, girl. Enjoy that moment. But I do want to just give you guys a moment to say your final thoughts as we went a little bit over time for this one. So I do want to give you guys a moment to kind of wrap up and say something great before we jump on to the next call, because our next activation, which is financial wellness, is about to start soon. So go ahead.
You want us as the team to, or anyone?
Yes, you as a team. Let's give some final words to all the wonderful participants. I think that this was a great workshop. There was a lot of voices. There was a lot of gems dropped. There were tools dropped from the audience. So I really appreciate the conversation happening. Yes, ladies, let's give some final beautiful words.
Well, you just summed it up. You just took everything that I was going to say. But yes, thank you all for joining on behalf of Team ManiFeast. We appreciate you again taking this time to be with us on a Saturday on another Zoom, making the time to get to know us and just knowledge share and drop all these gems. But we want to see you again. So definitely follow us on social media at _ ManiFeast, ManiFeast. And we are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Again, wherever you are, we are. So follow us.
And
there.
YouTube.
And also next week, Saturday, rounding out this month. So the Be Well team started it. We're ending it. We have our wellness summit happening as well. And you guys can tune into our page to learn about when the tickets will drop. It's a free summit as well. It's a 3.5-hour commit if you choose to stay for the whole summit, or you have the ability to pop in based on topics of interest. So we will see you on the other side. But yeah, thank you guys so much for
Thank
being
you.
here with us.
Thank you.
And continue to be well.
And take care of yourselves, please.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
So much.
Bye, everybody.